Hello, this is Eldoric The Guardian Tank, here with a quick tutorial video on how to tank with a warrior at level 85. Now, what I'm going to do real fast is walk you through a few things that you're going to need to know about. Now, here are the abilities I have primarily set up for tanking. First one's going to be Revenge. It's one of your bread and butter moves. You're going to be using it a whole lot. Next one is Devastate, Rend, Heroic Strike, Charge, and to accompany that, you're going to want to have it bound closely to Intercept. Concussion Blow. You may or may not have this depending on your spec, but a lot of tanks do. Shield Slam, Cleave for AoE, Thunderclap for AoE, and of course Shockwave. A few other abilities you're going to want to know about is Taunt, Shield Block, your lowest level of cooldown. Last Stand, another one of your cooldowns. Shield Wall. Demoralizing Shout, which is one of your primary debuffs. The other one you get, of course, from Thunderclap. Berserker Rage, which can cause an Enrage, which will allow you to use Enrage Regeneration, which is another one of your cooldowns. So, those are your primary abilities. Other abilities I, of course, have Keybound is my commanding shout. I can transfer in Battle Shout, depending on the buffs you get. Already talked about Intercept. You're going to use that in lieu of Charge if it's on cooldown. Victory Rush. Remember, I am spec'd into Impending Victory. And I have the Glyph to back it up. So you may or may not have that, but again, it's very dependent on you. Continuing along, I have my Dark Moon card, Earthquake, which kind of gives me a mini cooldown that I can use. Pummel, which is my primary interrupt. Challenging Shout, which is my AoE fixate. Heroic Leap for movement, very good for kiting. Heroic Throw, which I use for pulling. Inner Rage, good in a endless raid situation where you can use Heroic Strike. It takes the cooldown down to a second and a half, so you can use it every global cooldown. Spell Reflect, good on trash. Disarm, and Fire. One thing you probably are not going to need in a 5-man is Vigilance. I have it for my raid setup. And, of course, I have Intimidating Shout, which is glyphed. So if I have to, just showing you real fast, it will cause everyone to be intimidated when I use it, which basically means they just stand there in place and cower. Very good. So that's all the basics you need to know. So let's go ahead and queue up. Now, for the purposes of this video, I'm going to assume that you're, brand new. And I'm going to queue for a regular dungeon. And let's go ahead and find group. Justice points, which is great. Instant queue. Let's go ahead and bring that up. Now remember, I operate heavily off of key bindings. I don't click, and I don't use 1 through 10. Again, it looks like I'm typing. Okay, well, we're going to go into a little Halls of Origination. Not a bad beginner instance. It's not terribly hard. Lots of monsters in here if you choose to do them all. We're only going to go through the first one after we let this load up. Remember, it's pretty easy to tank if you're willing just to take your time and go through it. Being a little laggy today. All right, let's hop in. A lot of people ask me what these are, the add-on. It's called Ice HUD, and I use it a lot. It makes it so I don't have to look around to see my health or my rage. I can see it right there. Okay, and here's our group. Here's the healer. Always a handy tip is go ahead and set focus to that healer. Now, immediately everyone's going to want to go, but I'm going to go ahead and mark these. Now, you want to check out what you have. You have a mage, you have a death knight, a second death knight, and then a paladin healer. So not a whole lot of CC. These guys here are a bit of a pain, so I'm going to have them marked like that. We'll mark like this. Okay? Now I'm going to pull. I'm going to do what's called a line of sight. I'm going to bring them out of the area and engage them over here. In the AoE threat, I'm being very laggy at the moment. Now, when the mob inside finally finishes his never-ending cast, he's going to be forced to come over to me because I won't be in his line of sight, making this muy easy. I'm going to go ahead and disarm this guy. Why? Because it's going to lower his damage, making him a pseudo cooldown. As you can see, that guy is running over to me. He's going to run straight in. Hold on, got a threat. And I'm in line of sight. So I'm just going to go ahead and get him. But that was the purpose of the line of sight pull. Healer overcame my threat. Now these guys can be stunned, they can be interrupted. So you want to limit magic damage on you as much as you can. Magic damage ignores all your armor, so you always take the brunt of it, which you want to avoid. Now these guys, it's best just to lock them down. They're much like a hunter style. So they have a range attack, you can't really silence them. And we got some loot, don't really care about that. Just gonna move on. Plug it along. Group seems pretty good, competent. They are, of course, brand new. Okay, now if you have to go straight into a group, the important thing is, before you do anything else, get threat everywhere. Okay? Now, as a warrior, you're going to be extraordinarily tempted to get Blood and Thunder out. Don't worry so much about Blood and Thunder. Just do a Thunderclap, that gives you threat on everything. Now, I intentionally did this where I marked very little, but one target, and that was after I pulled. The reason behind that is I'm hoping to show that if you do that, a lot of times you can focus the DPS, or get them to pull off a target they are attacking to your target. And that's what you want when you have kind of a very sudden pull like that. Now, this guy's casting, that doesn't look good. That looks AoE-ish, so I'm going to interrupt that. In a 5-man, don't count on people interrupting unless you've told them to. Go ahead and do it yourself, if you can, and all tanks can. Okay, pretty simple. So that was a big, just dive in there pull. We've done a marked pull and a diving pull. For the sake of time, I'm just going to go ahead and dive right into this next group. It's only 2 mobs. We've got a Shadow Lancer and a Runecaster. I'm going to heroic throw against one, charge against the other, even though it looked kind of wonky there, and pull them both up. Now, you see, everyone is attacking when I originally attacked. That's quite common. You gotta be careful not to switch around too much initially without telling people, because they're gonna assume whatever you initially hit is what they should go for. And they're not necessarily wrong, unless you tell them differently. Okay, here's the boss. It's simple. His mechanics are fairly simple. So you have the beam. When he casts a shield on himself, you go and hit levers on the other side. So I'm going to pull this guy, slam right into him. Now, of course, my gear is better than what you're going to have going into it. Oh, you can also always try a disarm. See that? It worked. Now he's doing less damage. So I'm just going to hammer away at this guy for a second. All right, there's the beam. Move out of that. I know my mechanics because I've already looked them up if I haven't fought this yet. I'm going to just hammer away. Okay, so we entered the mechanic. I'm going to jump down with the group. Alright, he's going to get the lever. Make sure everyone's coming. Do a little sprint there. And they got the lever over here. So let's get back up there as quickly as possible. I'm going to intentionally use a heroic leap up here. The DPS have not broken his cast yet, so I will do that. And he's back on me. Move him out of the fire. And there's the mechanics. As you can see, I'm going through my rotation down here. It's opportunity based. You know, if you have the rage, then you're going to want to be using heroic strike. Got some Pit Vipers that follow this up. Okay, here's one. This group luckily knows what they're doing. We got some Pit Vipers going up there, so they already hit both of the levers, so I didn't have to really worry about them. Let's go ahead and get up here. Now, in the heroic mode, you're really going to have to worry more about those Vipers. They're not too dangerous in normal. A smaller mob. Now, I'm not really using cooldowns here because these guys really aren't threatening my health all that much, but do not be afraid to use your cooldowns. There's no good reason not to if it can lower damage and you're not expecting spike, especially your shield block. I've grown accustomed to holding on to that sometimes, depending on mechanics. Okay, and boss is down. So it's running through your first boss in a dungeon with a level 85 warrior. Not too hard. Again, the threat system is priority based. You know, you want to use shield slam as much as you can. Use revenge. In the absence of revenge, you're going to head and go and use devastate or strike if you have the rage. And also you could throw in concussion blow and a rend. Doesn't hurt. So good stuff. So thank you very much, Adler, for all that you do.